All right. I say, let's get started. Oh, I've got to change my board here. Let me see. We can say instead of this frame. Let me check and see what other frames I have. That one will work, I think. Got to move my webcam around, but that's okay. Here we go. How about that? That'll work. Welcome. All right. Yeah, I forgot that I had gone through and changed my little frame down here along the bottom for the School of Games Art Challenge. Which, by the way, if you wanted to be able to see how that ended up, I'll show you on Instagram. It's a little bit easier to get there, I think. Okay. So over on Instagram, that's fun. Go into my profile. It's easier to show you there. So School of Games. I've worked on this little lady here on stream the last couple of weeks. It's a lot of fun. Okay. And this is how she turned out. Okay. I've actually had her rendering inside of Maya for the last couple of days. So got some nice high quality turntable renders kind of coming out. But yeah, just a lot of fun. Just had fun with her, and I'm looking forward to being able to add her to, well, I think she's already on ArtStation. It's just being able to add her all the way on ArtStation. It's just kind of fun. But yeah, so that was my piece that I did for the School of Games Art Challenge. Thanks, Bam Pepper. It's for this challenge for School of Games. I'm not participating in the challenge. What I'm doing is I'm actually a judge for the challenge, and so these are some of the other entries, some of the other judges too. We got Caroline. We got this one too. This one's really good by Canto Girl. It's another judge, Maku. My friend Mike, Mikey. Yeah, and then also Amanda McFarlane, the animated life. Really fun characters kind of coming in here. Okay, if you're interested in being able to join, this challenge is still running, and it will run for another couple of weeks, I think. Let me see, April 24th. Okay, so April 24th. So yeah, you have 2 weeks. 2 weeks to be able to enter this thing. Super fun. Let me go ahead and I'll send this School of Games mood board challenge. Send that out so you guys can see it and participate and have fun. It's a great way. It's just a fun challenge to be able to be inspired by random objects and a theme, and then to be able to have it be very super open-ended so that you can make choices and figure out what it is that you want to do. So, for instance, some of the elements that I used in my piece include things like, we've got the color swatches over here. Magic Apprentice. Okay, so let me see. Shoot. Duplicate. Let's come back over here and we'll pull up. Well, if it wants to let me. There we go. So with my character here, right, let's zoom in here just so that we get a little bit bigger of an image. With my character here, she's supposed to feel clumsy, which is one of the keywords in here. Clumsy, maybe a bit nervous. Okay, so she's got her eyes kind of like sort of feeling there. She's got all sorts of random little things here that she's pulling into her potion. Her potion is tipping over because she's not able to control it as well as she should. Different things like that. Her the position of her body, everything like that. Just trying to make her feel awkward. Like a large witch's hat to make her feel, and the large cape, the cape that goes and trails on the floor, to make her feel extra clumsy, extra, just clumsy. It's probably the best term that I can think of for it. Awkward. There were a bunch of these little elements in here that I wanted to be able to add, and I might add at some point. I just didn't get to. So different vials, maybe have them floating around in the air behind the cauldron, or having. I did actually put in a little pentagram on the floor. It's a little hard to see though. Not entirely sure what happened. It almost looks like my texture got messed up. It looks like it might be actually hanging out underneath the cape. I have no idea what happened. But yeah, there was supposed to be a pentagram kind of right there, just to be kind of a magic circle. And then I was going to add in the mushrooms as a circle around the pentagram to make it to be like a magical little ring of something, add in some feathers in the hat or something like that. But yeah, I didn't get into all these little details. I wanted to add some pendants around her neck too, but didn't get to it. So yeah, maybe some other time. We'll have to see. Thanks, Andrew. So really fun. Just tried to have fun with it and play and do something new and different. The idea was that my characters, a lot of my characters, I really like doing things more like this, where it's got kind of a Disney-esque sort of influence. Like I've got my witch right here, where she's very, she's got kind of like a J. Scott Campbell sort of vibe to her. I really like how this character turned out, and I've loved trying to push my style toward something like this for years. So this is kind of the type of stuff that I really enjoy doing. But then I wanted to be able to push and design something that felt a little bit more, a lot more cartoony, a lot more stylized, feel very controlled with the shapes to make her feel kind of, teenagery and young and awkward. So really playing around with shapes. I love doing that sort of thing. So yeah, that's something I feel like I would strongly encourage you guys, if you're interested in trying to push your creativity, learn something different, try something new. Trying these art challenges like this mood board challenge from School of Games, this is a great opportunity. So I left the link there in the chat. Hopefully you guys find it and do it, and I will see your pieces when you enter. So yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm thinking that what I want to do is play around with Sailor Moon here, and I think what I want to do is actually take her clothing and kind of push it further so that it's more finished. Because right now everything is very temporary, very blocked in, and it doesn't look bad. It's just that it's not quite what I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this skirt. Looks like I have thickness turned on. Hopefully it's just that it's turned on. Yeah, it's not just turned on. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's isolate this, and let's get started. We'll do some things with cloth. We'll do some things with dynamics to be able to get some good, because like I like this pleated skirt, but I think I'm going to try something to be able to get something a slight bit different. So let's duplicate this out, and I'm going to start getting rid of Oops. Uh-oh. Is ZBrush crashing? Shoot. So this should be in the quick save. So yeah, we'll check it out. Try to get it back. Yeah, there's the quick save and there's the recovered tool. So let's just come back over here to this because there's not really any difference between this and what I'd want to open. So we'll just do that. All right, let's do this. Okay, so let me see. We've got this. What is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't need her open. Yeah, okay. Control 1. Let's come in here. Let's get that select lasso. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Okay. Now here's what I'm going to do. I am going to, let's just isolate these. Say delete hidden. Bless you. And look at that, we've got all sorts of different little hangouts down here. I am going to, let's use polygroup, and we'll say island. Oops, didn't want that. Oh, that's all connected down there. Yeah, I don't want that to be connected down there. Let me see. We'll just have to disconnect pieces as we get to them. Ooh, that's connected too. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this, make sure that it's all clean. Looks like we're good. I'm going to say split hidden, just so that we have that as its own clean little piece. And then we're going to go ahead and hide. We'll just isolate these pieces here around the outside. And hopefully it must be connected somehow, or I double clicked it or something. There we go, that's better. All right, let's get rid of those. Okay, so now we can say geometry, delete hidden. We can just merge this down. There we go. Okay, so now we can start connecting these. So I'm going to say stitch to midpoint. In fact, let's do this. We'll go around all the way around. Oops. Just make sure that all these corners are connected. Now there will be some adjusting to do after we go through. What I want to do is I'm trying to simplify this skirt. Make it so that it's just a nice clean shape rather than having the pleating. And once we do that, we should be able to start to use our dynamics. Okay, so what I want to be able to do is, now that I've gotten this connection here at the end, I should be able to take this and say stitch hole, and I can go front to, oh, come here, come here, come here. No, it's not going to work with just the two then. Yeah, you see it needs at least 2 points there. We'll shoot. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's the way that works. Stitch, stitch, stitch. Stitch the bottom, stitch the bottom, stitch the hole. Stitch the hole. It's one of, like, this particular tool has been one of the most helpful little things. I mean, it's one of those things. It's going to go ahead and join things in the center, but it's so helpful to be able to go ahead and stitch that hole, because going in and vert welding one to one the whole way around, it's kind of a pain. So we'll go ahead and we'll do some more of this. Boom, boom. Stitch the hole, stitch the hole, stitch the hole. Oh man. So yeah, we only have a few more left to do, so we're not too far away. I know it takes a little while. It's a little bit tedious. There we go. Almost there. Almost there. Oops. But yeah, Zmodeler is an awesome tool. I love using Zmodeler. By the way, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. A little bit about me, in case you're new to this stream. I'm Steven Anderson. I go by SMAARTIST on social medias. SMAARTIST. It's just a serendipitous combination of my initials and the word artist. I'm getting the light coming through my window right into my eyes. So I'm trying to adjust and not be like blinded by the light. Yeah, trying to have some good fun. I work currently for Netflix Animation as a 3D concept modeler. There we go. It's nice. Control W. In fact, if we wanted to, we could even come in here, make sure perspective is off. And then we'll just hide that. Control W. That way we have a front and a back. And in fact, we might even go ahead, let's expand this, Control Shift X. That's a little bit better. It feels a little bit more halvesies right now, so that's good. Okay. I'm going to change this to slide, just to be able to, come on, you. What do I have? Oh, Polygroup Island. Let's turn this to off, do nothing right here. That way I can just focus on what it is I want my points to do. Alright, something kind of like that ish, right? How to make new point on poly edge. I'm not sure what that question means, so I might need you to clarify. Yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of different things that you can do with Zmodeler. Let me pull out Zmodeler. So technically you can go through and you can say, with the edge actions, you can say split. And that'll allow you to add in an extra point on an edge. You're going to be splitting your face too. Here, let me go ahead and make this a lighter color, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, this is adding in a new point in here that you can change and manipulate. But it's not something that's super helpful because it also ruins your geometry and makes it a little bit messy. So it's kind of, it depends on what it is you want to do. Okay, I'm going to take this, let's say deformation, we'll say polish a little bit. Okay, that's nice. Here, let's hit symmetry so we can modify the skirt 2 places at once. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to try to aim for is getting kind of a thin, I don't know, maybe not. Let's try it. Let's try it and see kind of how it is that it looks. But what I want to try to do is get it to be kind of thin to the form. Yeah, the stitch hole function is awesome. The only problem, the only hard thing to think about and to have to keep in mind is that it will it will bring all the points to the middle, like to like average out those points. So if you have one edge that you want to keep still, it's best to use the stitch points. But if you don't mind going through and doing some fix-up work, then you know, do it. I'm going to turn off symmetry for a minute. And I'm going to actually restore symmetry in this model. And the way that I'm going to do that, yeah, let's go ahead, let's unmask this so we have just this center line unmasked. What I want to do, in fact, let's shoot. Let's go hit home, alt hit home, so that way it's right in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these points and just scale them in so that they're straight up and down right there in the middle. This way I should be able to take, oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a fun character to go through and kind of play around with. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mask out the side that I want to keep the same. And then I'm going to go Smart Resim here underneath the deformation. I'll hit Smart Resim. And oh, it looks like maybe this piece isn't symmetrical or something. So maybe let's try this one then. I'm probably going to need to split this out so that it's different pieces. But we'll see. That is a good question. Did I sculpt it in Retop or did I go back to it? It's that this is a model that I did a few years ago, so I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure technically this is one that I did starting with a different model that I had already made. I can't remember which model it would have been that I had started from though. That's a good question. Yeah, shoot, I can't remember. It might have been one that I had gone through and done the topology by hand after sculpting it. I can't remember for sure, though. It's a good question. Okay, same thing. Let's go ahead. I'm going to mask out the side that I want to have keep the same. Nothing's changing. Let me see. What if I were to go ahead and say, here, let's do this first. Since we're at this sort of stage, might as well just go ahead and get rid of the thickness, because I'm wanting to be able to lowest subdivision active, delete hidden. There should have been hidden to delete. Okay, let's do this instead then. Let's delete lower. We'll say delete hidden. We'll grab that poly group, Control Shift A, so we have that whole thing. We'll say delete hidden, and we'll say reconstruct subdivisions. Boom. There we go. So now we've got this piece that has subdivisions to it. But it's only a single-sided piece of geometry, so it'll be easier for us to control. Yeah, she is pretty close to game ready. She has a lot of work that she needs done in order to be, to be finished. But she has clean topology. She's good and ready to go. All the pieces have. You can see that's really low, but it's fun. Always yes. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to add one subdivision level to that so that it's just a little bit smoother. Baffles my mind. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Mirror and weld. Except that it mirrored the wrong direction, so I'm going to go ahead and, well, it didn't mirror the wrong direction, it mirrored the right direction, it just didn't mirror the way that I wanted it to mirror. So okay, so now we've got this and it's symmetrical, and just got to check and make sure that center line is good, and we're going to bring this up. Okay, cool. When you retopo with ZRemesher, can you project all the existing detail in the mesh with subdivisions, or do you have to duplicate and project it like before? Yeah, you do have to. Well, so when you're doing topology, you want to do the topology on top of something that's already there. So you have your base sculpt, and then you're using Zmodeler, and you can use the Zmodeler edge extrude functions to snap to surface. And let me show you an example here. If I were to use Zmodeler on here, I can say extrude, edge. I can say, it's got smart attraction, okay, so snap to surface. What this is going to do is it's going to make it so that as I pull it out, it's snapping down to the mesh that I'm drawing it out onto. So now it's kind of snapping out, and it's creating this opportunity for me to be able to draw out topology onto a surface. So it's really, really nice. Every once in a while there will be a time where the points don't quite match up, where they don't quite join up, and so you have to kind of fix that by hand. All right, let me show you. It looks like these ones are doing really, really nicely. But say, for instance, we'll bring this out, and we'll say, we'll leave it unattached just, on purpose. We'll say Control 1. So you can see that this is not quite matching up. I can hit Control T so I can see stuff too. I'm going to go ahead and change to move points on my point actions. And I'm going to say, attraction, that's great. Snap to surface, we want that too. Okay, and I'm just going to grab this and just bring it over. So you just check that. And you can see, like, if you were to smooth it out, you can see that that's not connected. Sometimes it'll look like it's connected when it's in the regular preview mode, but it won't be actually connected. So what we want to do is just be able to bring this over and snap it together, and now you can smooth it out and you can see that it's connected. So yeah, just really cool, really nice, simple tool. I really enjoy using the Zmodeler. It is kind of tricky. It's not my only tool that I use for retopology. I like to use it to get pretty far ahead in my retopology, and then I'll take it over into Maya to finish it out. Because there are characters like, let me see if I can remember where I have her at. Right here. Autosave. Yeah, I love the snap to surface stuff. Okay, let me see. Let's come over here to her face. Okay, so this face is one, and granted, it's got a long way to go still. You can see I've left the eye cavities, the mouth cavity, to be able to finish it out inside of Maya. And I'll be finishing out things like the nose and things like that inside of Maya. And the antlers I actually did inside of Maya. I just haven't gotten to the eyes and mouth yet. But these, the reason I did these inside of Maya is that you get a lot of really tight, tight points in here. And if your points get too close together and you start using Zmodeler, sometimes it'll go through and it'll snap them just at random. It looks like it didn't do it this time, so that's fine. But yeah. Huh. Well, cool. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's snapping anymore. That's great. Cool. Must have been upgraded or something since the last time I had tried to do something intricate. Okay, just make sure that's undone all the way. With this, I want to duplicate this and try to make kind of a ruffle at the bottom. This is just to be able to test out a different skirt style. So what I want to do is I'm going to Control-Shift-D. I'm going to use a couple of these spans. In fact, maybe I'll use, why did that, okay, there we go. We'll say delete hidden. And then we'll just bring this down so that it's a bit below. And I just want to slide these edge loops. So that they're even and so that they're pretty close together. Okay, so you see that. What I'm going to do, say Control W because we don't need it to be anything else right now. So we have these 3 loops. I just went ahead and added one edge loop, or one. Doesn't the light by my eye annoy me? It does if it hits my eye. I try to be careful so that it's not like right there because that is irritating. But if it's just off my eye, then it's fine. Yeah, it's kind of hard to play around with because it's like it gets right in my eyes, so blinded by the light. Let's go ahead. We'll select that polygroup, and let's open up dynamics so that we can play around with it. We're going to play around with a couple little things here. I'm going to turn my firmness up to 3 just because I want to be able to keep it a little bit more rigid. Get some thick folds, some thick ruffles instead of some tight wrinkles. And granted, I don't have enough topology to get tight wrinkles. So this should hopefully work. I'm going to turn on allow expand. Okay, which should hopefully work pretty well. I'm going to say, we'll say expand. And what I want to do, let's try this right here as it is. We'll say run simulation. So you can see kind of what's starting to happen. Okay, that's getting too long. And it's not working quite right. You can see it's like it's fighting itself too much. Okay, so let's see. Let's turn off gravity. Let's see. Run simulation. Well, that's turning out much more predictably than what I had gotten at first. So now we've got this. Okay, so I'm going to turn off expand, and we'll turn gravity back on, and we'll say run simulation. So sometimes it's just a matter of kind of combining things. I had hoped that this would look all right. It looks kind of weird. And I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of playing around with where it's located. And then we'll say something like that, maybe. I don't know, that's kind of interesting. It's different. It's different. It's something I think to entertain, maybe. It adds a different level of detail, a different look. I think the original Sailor Moon has like this oops. Sailor Moon. Yeah, she has like this pleated skirt. In fact, here, let's do this. Let's say save image. Oh, no way. I hate it when that happens. Save image as. Is it? Nope, it's not going to work. That's too bad. Okay, let me see. Yeah, screen cap's the only way that we're going to be able to go, I think. Which is a pain, because I don't like working with screen caps. You lose resolution. But I guess that's fine. Let's say save. I'll save it to my downloads, and then I'll put it in my right folder here. Okay. Where are we at? Characters for fun. Sailor Moon. We'll just place her in there. I actually wonder if by clicking on this, maybe I can get really? Like that's the really? Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do this. You can right click on the image and say search image. Search Google for image. Where's maybe they changed the wording for it. Open image in a new tab. Save image as. Dang it. Oh well, I'll leave it. Not a big deal. No point going in and trying to force my way into getting the image. With this hair, I mean, there may be some point where I go through and kind of, I like it. Never mind, I don't know. You can see I've got like a few things going on here where I've got like this ridge that I've built into the bangs, you know, to kind of give it that plainer sort of look. Yeah, lots of stuff kind of going on in here that I feel like it's really pretty fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's bring in that texture image. Characters for fun, Sailor Moon. We'll say ref. And then we'll add it to Spotlight. Okay. So this is the most awesome way to add images for reference. Let's go ahead and close that so we don't need it. Okay, in fact, let's pull this over here so we can see it, and then we'll make it fully opaque. The first thing that I want to do is I want to come in and, is it intensity or is it paint? I think it's paint. And then it's Control Alt. And you just click and drag right there, and it'll pull out anything that's, you know, anything that's connected in that same color. And the more you pull it, the more it's going to pull out. So you got to be careful because of, you know, certain tolerances. So if it had gone too far, it would have gotten through that black line and into like the white here, you know, other things like that. So Control Alt, Control Alt, Control Alt, Control Alt, and it looks like we're good. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to position this so that it's, you know, so that she's in a good spot, and then we'll be able to use this. So she has these really heavy pleats on her skirt, which, you know, I had included some pleats in my first version, my first skirt version. So we might go ahead and let's try a version that's more like this. And I might try a version of the hair where it's got like a little bit more volume to the bangs. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. Because I really like where she's at right now. So let's say texture. I'm going to say save spotlight. And we're going to say Sailor Moon redraw spotlight 2. Okay, so we got that saved. I might have to lengthen out these legs too. Because right now she has much more naturalistic sort of proportions. It could be fun to play around with proportions some. We'll have to see. Whew. We'll have to see. I know that's something that I'll definitely want to do is like take these earrings. Grab that, make sure that that's centered. Oops. Here, let's go ahead and turn on local symmetry. And we'll just kind of puff that out some. Now, one of the things that I'm facing is that I've got this, let's turn off perspective real quick. I've got this bit here, and it doesn't feel like it's as long as I would like. Let's make sure that that's like it's like it's too thin top to bottom. You know what? Let's mask out these corners. I'm going to invert the mask and take it like this and kind of bring this part in some. Pull that in, pull that in. It's like that crescent's not quite making the right shape. Something more crescent-like. And this is a little bit too out there. Let's see, move infinite depth. This is a great brush. This is such a great brush. maybe we get this a little bit more rounded. Something like that's a little bit better. Man, Nightbot's going through and advertising for everybody else, but not me. Go check out Waruna's Welligamage's Superman ZBrush Central Post. All right. Cool. So we've got those earrings that fixed a little bit. That's much nicer. Just I felt like they were getting lost, and so having that there, I feel like is really helpful. Okay. So let's go through and play with. Let's play with the placement of this little white guy right here. This feels like it's up really high, like right in her waist. I feel like it goes down a lot further. So let's play with that. We'll also play with the placement of the bow on her back. It looks like the bow on her back is supposed to go more on her rear end instead of on her. Let's go ahead and take this, pull it out. Pull this down some. Let's grab this bow, not both of them, just the one, please. Okay, and then it's got too much of like a crunch up at the top, so I'll have to kind of even that out some. Let's do that real quick while we're here. That middle part is just fine, so we'll grab that. Grab that. Control A. This top piece, now that we have it kind of masked out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the transpose line with the move. Okay, so move transpose line, and just hold Alt and pull. And then I'm going to lengthen it out and hold Alt and kind of pull. Okay, that way I can kind of straighten that piece out gently, really nicely. It's such a great tool, and I feel like it's one of those legacy tools that I feel like does not get enough PR. Turn off. Annyeong. Hello. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's fix this. And we'll go through, we'll probably actually end up using the ruffled skirt and just try to make it feel a little bit more, give it more volume, like what we see kind of more in the original design. I don't want it to feel like the original design, but I do want to make sure that I'm keeping the same feeling of, without it being the original anime sort of style. It's funny, I needed a bow just like this the other day, and I was trying to think, do I have one already? Do I have one? I don't remember. I have one. I totally forgotten I had this one. might have been about perfect too. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny how that works. Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, so we've got this skirt combined with that. So let's go ahead and merge that down and say okay. Let me see. We gotta check this, make sure that we got hidden deleted. Okay, so it was the top one. Okay. So now we've got this skirt here. Okay. Pretty neat. And then we've got the skirt. Oh, gloves. Oh, shoot. Ah, I got rid of it. How about that? Did I really? I would have sworn that I had duplicated it. Meesh. That is crazy. I would have sworn that I deleted or duplicated it. Okay. No need to fear. Let's go ahead. Let's save this out. I'll save it out as 3 so that I don't save over the one I'm trying to pull something from. Yeah. That's absolutely exactly the idea. Is, you know, it's getting the essence, getting the feeling of the character, but making it very much your own. I love doing that sort of thing. These ruffles on her shoulders, that's something that I very much want to kind of play around with and figure out, because I don't like how they are right now. They feel too sharp. And I don't quite like the bubbly look of the shoulder pad deals up here. But you know, it is what it is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come over here. Let's say refresh to be able to get rid of whatever's down there. We're going to say load tool. And let's bring in 2, which is the one that we started off with in the very beginning. Okay, so now we've got this skirt here. And we can come up here and we can say, since we have this selected, I'm going to say insert skirt. So that way we have that original skirt in there. And we'll make adjustments so that it fits with the new waist alignment there. Yeah, cool. Let's go ahead and refresh that out so that we know which one we're working on. Okay, let's turn on symmetry just so that we can move both sides at the same time. I'm just going to try to align the top a little bit better with the. In fact, maybe instead of trying to align that, I can just take this and get rid of part of it. I mean, the hard part is that, and what we noticed when we were going through and making adjustments is that we saw that it had kind of adjoined. So let's do this. Control Shift X. Oh shoot! Control Shift S. Okay. Let's bring that back. Something like this, I think, is going to work for us a little bit better. Geometry. Delete hidden. Okay, I'm going to bring this up above. Let's keep it below. What I want to do is I want to duplicate it so that I can have something fresh to work on. Sorry. And in fact, what we'll do is we'll keep this so that it's the exact original, so that we don't have to worry about completely losing that. What I want to do is I'm going to take this Control W again, so that way we have the 2 different polygroups. And like what we did with that other piece when we made the little ruffle on the bottom, since we have a lot of topology here, I'm going to play around with getting hopefully a little bit more body to it by playing with the dynamics. So let's go ahead and open that back up. So yeah, we have this pleat, but it's like this rounded, voluminous pleat. So we're gonna play around with getting that. Let's grab this. Let's get our gizmo back. Oops. Let's kind of soften it out once there. Okay. Let's turn off gravity. We'll say expand. And let's say run simulation. I'm just going to let it run for a minute and see what it does. It looks like it's having some troubles really like calculating out something something nice. So here's what we're going to do. Let's say instead of expand, let's say inflate. We'll say run simulation. Oh, it's already doing something a little bit different. Look at that. Okay, so yeah, now she's got like air going up her skirt. Let's see if we can get this to do something kind of neat. Let's run simulation and see what it does. You can see one of the things that we're running into is this this collision with the body. Okay, so in order to avoid that, let's come over here. Let's turn off the bows. Let's turn off her hair. And right there we should be fine. So let's make a collision volume. Let's say the inflate value should be 0.2 or 0.1. Let's say 0.1. Okay, recalculate that collision volume so that it takes that inflate value into account, and then we'll say run simulation. Sorry. Hello, India. Thank you so much. Bagmat. This, okay, so this skirt is not going to really work out for us. Not in a nice way, anyway. So what we're going to do, let's try this. We'll turn on gravity, but we'll turn on inflate too. Let's actually take this inflate amount and make it a lot smaller. It's definitely not behaving in a very clean and predictable way. So I think what I'm going to do, let's take it to this point and see about getting rid of some of these extra edge loops. I'm really kind of interested to see. This is more kind of like me testing out. Oh, I don't want symmetry on right now. Okay. Me kind of testing out different ideas about how to go about getting that fluffed pleat sort of look. I honestly don't know if this will work, but you know, you gotta try something out sometimes. Autosave. Boy, that Superman post is getting a lot of love. Just typing to ask if you use the clothing simulation. Yes, actually. as I'm sure you've probably already figured out. But yeah, so right now I'm trying to figure out getting a good, doggone, um, getting that good puff pleat sort of look. I don't think this is going to work, but yeah, it's worth testing. Okay, I think we've gone all the way around now. Let's see what it is that this does. Let's run simulation. It's a little bit more predictable. It's not doing pleats. It's doing just simple folds, which, you know, could be fine. Let's kind of tidy up some of these, like this little point down here. This is not in line, so let's kind of fix that some. Just kind of nitpick it some. Hey, has anybody watched any shows lately that you've been interested in? Any shows that you've had fun? So the reason I'm keeping it at a low subdivision count for right now is that I want the shape of the folds to be more broad. By adding subdivisions, it's going to get a lot more detailed, a lot more fussy. So yeah, by keeping my subdivision levels really low, I get bigger folds. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. It's a really great principle. The more detail, the more resolution you add, the tighter your folds are going to end up being. And we'll add in a layer of resolution here in just a moment, just to be able to get a little bit more control. So yeah, see, let's do that right now. You can see that's it's that open edge isn't creased, so let's go ahead and let's crease the open edges. Underneath geometry, let's go crease, and the crease tolerance all the way at 180. Let's hit crease. That'll crease just the open edges. So now, when I hit Control D, it'll smooth it out without actually losing where that's at. I'm going to try taking this, kind of moving. Yeah, it's a little bit too soft. Oh, what are my crease levels at? Let's try doing something like that then. Okay. That way it keeps its crease a little bit better. Alright, let's grab that and kind of pull it over. Get a little bit more of like a fold kind of coming out here. Something like that. In this way, this should help to kind of reinforce the idea that there's kind of a bunching of fabric right here. It's a really simple trick. I love being able to use things like masking and just simple moving. Here, let's go ahead, let's Control H just to hide the mask. That way we can keep it. Oh shoot, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. Okay, there we go. Oh, here, brush. Whenever we turn on spotlight, you know, this image that we have here for reference, whenever we turn that on, we need to go into brush, samples, and turn off spotlight projection, or else our things like our smooth brush will not work. Kind of a funny little quirk, but you know, it's just part of the system. Yes, I've actually used the cloth tools quite a bit already. So if you're interested in seeing how I use those, you're welcome to go back and kind of rewatch what I've done. For right now, I use the cloth tools to get base wrinkles and folds, and then I'll go through and I'll do things like this manually to go ahead and get more of a controlled art directed sort of look, because oh shoot. Here, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. So now let's kind of pull this. Let's go ahead and grab this. It's there's this weird little bug every once in a while where once I've gone through and done this sort of thing, it's like it doesn't want to smooth out on both sides very well. So it's kind of a pain. Let's try something like this maybe. Let's pull that over there. So you can see we're starting to get a much cleaner, much tighter sort of look there. So now it comes down to deciding whether I like this and want to continue with this and really flush that out, or if I want to keep, there's the original pleated skirt. In fact, let's go ahead, let's do this, because this is a really nice way to be able to test things out like this. So here's that new skirt, okay, that we'll go through and we'll clean up. We'll make it so that it looks really nice. Let's turn on the hair again, because that's kind of embarrassing. And we'll turn on the bows too, because get the full ensemble. Get the full ensemble. Okay, so there's that. Okay, here's the original kind of high-waisted pleated skirt, and there's kind of the newest skirt that we did this morning. Hey, Leonard. Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't get put into the schedule. I did get scheduled last month for today and I think the 23rd as well. But yeah, it's not in the calendar. All right. Let me see. Any tips on Dynamesh object with thin wall as they produce hole after Dynameshing? Yeah, don't Dynamesh thin walls. That's the only tip I can offer for Dynamesh and thin walls, is that you will get holes. So yeah, I mean, it's like, especially when you're trying to deal with things like this. I mean, this is probably the thinnest I've gone, is like a mermaid tail or fins. And so in order to be able to work with Dynamesh at that sort of thickness, it's insane. You want to make sure that your mesh is big enough in your scene that when you do Dynamesh, it doesn't go through and think, oh, this point is close enough to this point, I need to merge those together, and ZBrush gets confused and tries to figure out where it is that yeah, ZRemesher is another option. Hold on, give me a second. Whew. So yeah, ZRemesher is another option where it gives you the opportunity to refresh your surface topology. But hey, Ian, how you doing? Thanks, man. Yeah, it's an old sculpt. I just wanted to try to make it so that it was made new. Um, Not made new, but you know, more finished. You know how that goes. Yeah, it's one of those graveyard sculpts. Um, in fact, I should do a segment called Graveyard Sculpts and just have it be this, you know, be all about about resurrecting old projects. Yeah, I'm curious if the if it may be too much, like too crazy of a fluffle down there at the bottom. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Yeah, there's a lot kind of going on here. I think it's all about trying to figure out oh, forgot to leave a skirt on. So yeah, we've got this skirt, we've got the other skirt, and we got the other skirt. And I'm trying to figure out kind of what it is that I like the best. I really kind of like that pleated skirt. But then this one also has kind of a fun feel to it too. And I just got to go through and actually work through getting the nice, clean sort of edges here. It's all about being fickle and not figuring out what it is that you want to do. Yeah. Let's go through here. Let's kind of take this and pull it over. And we'll take this and we'll pull it out. Oops, something like that. Just kind of smooth it out some. Yeah, that'll be cool once I get it into the right spot. Let's see, let's take this and say, let's grab that and that. Yeah, let's use inflate. Oops, lost my point of view there. That's a little bit better. Okay, now I just gotta put it in its place. Yeah, it's all about really playing with these things though. Just playing, just having fun. Because that's all that you can do at the end of the day. Hey kiddo. What?
Can you do a movie theater today?
Maybe.
Sonic 2. 'Cause it came out yesterday.
No, we can't do Sonic 2 because that's in theaters.
Oh. I must have gotten it wrong then.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, I wonder if there's a pinch cloth. Cloth pinch. What's up, dude?
Do you recognize any of these voices?
Nope. You should go play though. Right now I'm streaming, okay? trying to figure out. Let's see. I wonder, actually, let's try something. Just for kicks and giggles, right? There's this clay polish feature. Ooh, that got some pretty cool planar sort of effects there. A little bit too much. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say mask by, oops. No alpha, please. Mask by border. Okay, so that way it gets the borders to stay put. And we'll say clay polish. Do I like that? No, I don't really like that. Yeah, you know what? Let's experiment with this skirt again. Control Shift D, duplicate that out. Let me see. Let's get rid of this top ring. Oh, that's right. I've got to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff, not just. It looks like it's got that inside too. So say modify topology, we'll say delete hidden. Yeah, let's just grab this pink, Control Shift A, delete hidden. There we go, that's better. Okay, so what we're going to do, we still have that collision volume. It should be all right. It should be the same. Oh, what did Ian say? Yeah, so there's actually a redraw Sailor Moon challenge. I think it was a couple years ago. It's going to texture. I'm going to say load spotlight. It was this. So everybody was going through and kind of redrawing this image, and this is as far as I got. Obviously, very, very good. Yeah, I made this skirt with Zmodeler. Yeah, really super fun. But yeah, so the idea was to go through and take this and do this image in your own style, and yeah, that's as far as I got. So I've got a ways to go. But yeah, I've got to save. I gotta save this girl. Okay, save, replace it. Yes, please. And it's funny, is like I've used this specific model a few times as a to be able to do pose and let's come over here. Pose and expression studies for demonstrations in my class at Nomen. Let's see, let's come over here and see. I'm pretty sure I have some of the stuff up on here. Did I go past it? Did I even put her up? I don't even have her up here. Huh. How about that? I don't even have her up there. Let me see. I know for sure that I have. Oh, that's not going to be it. I know for sure that I have different images here. Oh, here's an image. Let's let it kind of open up. So yeah, there's one pose and expression study that I did for a demo at Nomen. I mean, there's a lot of cleanup that still needs to be done in order for this to work right. The clothing and everything kind of down here around the chest shoulder transition, it's not great. The arm has some anatomy issues I need to kind of work out, but you know, for a 30-minute demo, I mean, it's not bad. Yeah. I teach stylized character creation at Noman. It's awesome. I love being able to teach there. Since the pandemic happened, I haven't had as many people sign up for class, and so yeah, it's been kind of yeah. It was really quick. So it's also really rough. You can see different spots where it's not very clean, like right here at the knee. Um, I mean, I mentioned like the shoulder area here, shoulder to chest area. Um, but the face was really fun to go through and pull out, and then yeah, the rest of it was just it just followed. So it was a really great way for me to be able to demonstrate how I use um, transpose master and different things like that to make a really neat, fun pose. Um, so yeah, ideally, what I want to do is finish her out in a way that allows me um, that allows me to learn rigging, so that I can rig her and animate her or pose her, do whatever I want to do with her, right? So super super cool. Oh shoot, Control A. Let's go ahead and kind of. I need to make sure that I have that top ring completely masked. Do something like that. Okay. So now what I want to do, let's go ahead and turn off local symmetry, center that. I'm just going to hold Alt and use that green because I want it to keep kind of that. That's a little bit too. I want it to bell out at the bottom. That's kind of what I want to go for more. So let's try something a little bit different. Invert that. We'll just try smoothing that out once. That's a little bit better. So feathering can be pretty extensive. It's a pretty neat functionality, um, but it's one of those things that you definitely want to be careful with, or else you get too much of it. Okay, I'm liking that much better. Let's get it a little bit more flow here. All right. Cool. Let's kind of pull that down so that it's better matching the bottom side of that. We'll have to go through and kind of, at some point, maybe not today, but at some point. I do stream on Twitch. I don't stream like super often. I used to stream a ton. I don't stream as much as I used to because of work. Yeah, I used to stream a lot. Usually I'll stream like during let's go ahead and try to get it's just getting too much. Let me see. Polish features, no. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say layers. We'll add a new layer. We'll come into deformation, hit the polish just a little bit. And then with the layer, we can just kind of go back and we can kind of tone it back some. There we go. Yeah, I kind of like that. We'll leave that kind of as it is for right now. In fact, let's go back to recording that so that we can kind of pull this up just a little bit, make it fit the contour of the arm a little bit better. Cool. But yeah, I do stream on Twitch actually, and just so that I guess that you have it, you know, it's twitch.tv/smartist. Oops. Make sure I get 2 A's in there. My keyboard is terrible. It's yeah. I don't stream nearly as often as I used to, and it's just because of work. For work, I work at Netflix as a 3D concept modeler, which is a lot of interesting fun. Let's go ahead and do something kind of more like this. And then we'll do something similar with this piece too. I'm just kind of holding Alt with the move brush and just kind of pushing it in. There we go. And this way it gets a little bit of a hybrid between my design and theirs. Something like that maybe. We'll kind of see how the rest of it turns out later. Yeah, I love using the light background. The light background is nice, and I'll change depending on what it is that I'm working on. But it helps me personally so that I don't have to worry. The master of Move Alt. I love Move Alt. It helps me personally to be able to see the silhouette a little bit better. But then if I'm working on something that's really light and it tends to blend in with the gray, I'll go ahead and I'll darken it up some. And I usually like to go and kind of pick, like I have different places on the UI that I like to go ahead and pick if I wanted to be able to get, you know, for instance, like a dark colored background. I like to pick like either this dark gray here or one of the dark grays from up here along the UI itself. Or if I like the light, I like to pick from that hand right there. So I just come up and boom right there. So that's where I get that gray, just in case anybody's interested. Is that what the kids call anime? I have no idea what anime is. Oh, okay. I said it and then I heard it. That's funny. That's funny. Ah, good grief. Okay. Right here. Let's work on this a little bit here. I said it and then I heard it. Okay. So with her clothing, I'm thinking I will probably end up going in and splitting this up so that I have an upper piece for her upper torso, and then I have like I forget what it's called, but you know, just like cause like the underwear, the way that this is right here, I feel like it's a little bit harder to control with the leg and everything. So I don't know. I mean, it does match up, like the topology of this is the topology from the body, so it would match up nicely. And so in going through and creating a rig for this, it would go over and transfer nice and smooth. Let's go ahead and smooth that. Oh, sorry, smooth that down. Oh, that's a little bit too much. So maybe I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. If I think of anything that I'd rather do with it, and if I want to try to go ahead and create like a more streamlined sort of piece for underneath here, then I'll worry about that at a different point. Okay, that's something else that I wanted to know is if I had her as like the full body or if it was just the if I had gotten rid of the feet. I need to clean up the feet at some point. They look kind of pitiful. In fact, maybe let's do a little bit of cleanup here now since we're here. Let's go ahead and do something like this. That's a little bit too rocky. Pull that in some. And then technically, like the padding of the toes, the thank you, Bagmat. Thank you so much. The padding on the toes, the padding on the balls of the feet, these would meet up a little bit better, meet up a little bit more down here, probably. I mean, I've never seen the way that a foot looks on the inside of platform heels, and I kind of suspect nobody has, but it's yeah, it's kind of tricky to get your eyes inside of somebody's shoe. Words of wisdom from the smartest today. If I sound tired and look tired today, it's because I'm super tired. Went to Disneyland yesterday. And I'm exhausted. We got stuck on Space Mountain. It was amazing. Let me see. Yeah, the color pick is super, super nice. I've been modeling the walker on a dark background. Lighter would have been better. A lighter could be helpful, yeah. What kind of walker? Like a Star Wars walker? Cinderella's shoe would work. Amazing. Amazing. That's a good point. The glass slipper. Clever. Clever, clever, clever. Okay, let me make sure that this bit right here is a little bit cleaned up. Poor girl with her feet all stuck in this position. It's just like, ah. Take that, kind of move it around. I'm trying to get the right form back here just by kind of touching at it. Hands should be all right because I made the gloves around the hands. I may have to make the gloves a little bit tighter, but you know, we'll see when it comes time to actually do something with them. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Just want to check and make sure that my topology isn't totally screwed up in the mouth, because that happens sometimes. Yeah, sure. If you want to send me that link, I'd love to see that. All right. Okay. So that skirt with the bell, I'm liking that a lot better. I still kind of want to try. You know what? Let's go through here. Off dynamic, kind of puff that out a little bit just so that it's more on the surface, because like she's got this like that waistband right there. It's got a lot more puff to it than mine had, so let's kind of play around with that some. kind of one of the interesting things, taking a 2D concept and making it into a 3D sculpt, is because it's in 2D you have so many cheats that you can, so many different things that you can do with it. Let's go ahead and make sure that that's so we got that. We'll take this down in a little bit just to make it match up better. Okay. So cool. Okay. It's always kind of exciting, like seeing things start to come together. I'm trying to decide though how long we were stuck on Space Mountain for like a half hour. This poor little girl, like back at the end of our train, was she's starting to have a little anxiety attack. And I was like, oh, poor thing. For me, it was cool because I'd never seen the inside of that ride, and so I was looking at all the mechanisms. I was pointing out to my son about the brakes. Just like all the cool little things that are there inside of the infrastructure. And I made a reel on Instagram to to be able to kind of show it off. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to be able to notice things like the clearances and the walkways and the walkway widths and things like, I don't know, just all these different little things that I learned about and worked with when I was at Imagineering. Yeah, they turned on the lights. It was pretty crazy. In fact, let me see if I can pull up a picture. Let's come over here and say, oh, here we go. Let's see. You can see, like, there we are. We've got all the inside there. So yeah, it was really kind of interesting, and I mean, nobody had fun being stuck on the ride, but I enjoyed it, a little bit. Yeah, what a geek, right? Whatever. I enjoyed it. It's all right. Cool. It's way scary to ride with the lights on. I used to inspect the show equipment there. Oh man, it was. Well, it was. I could understand that. I mean, if you're able to see the infrastructure, if you're able to see all the support beams and the pipes and everything that's going on in through there, the electric work, well, I mean, you're less likely to put your hands up and enjoy yourself, right? By the way, there's plenty of space up there. There's plenty of clearance for you to be able to raise your hands if you want to. I don't, because it's just this heavy set paranoia that I'm going to like lose my arms. I'm not that big of a guy. You have to be like 12 feet tall in order to have enough of a reach to be able to hurt yourself doing that. But because that's one of the things that at Imagineering, they are insanely careful and judicious about these sorts of things, where you need to have those clearances, those height clearances, for safety reasons. Otherwise, people do get hurt and there are lawsuits, right? So they take very good care of people. They try as hard as they can to make sure that they consider every little thing. That was always a very funny bit of creating things for the rides, is just how precise we had to be. All the minimums need to be reached, different holes needed to be considered, heights and lengths and everything, just crazy. Very cool. I learned a ton, and it was very interesting to me. to be able to see that, to witness the inside of that ride like that, because to me it was an educational experience. To everybody else, it was just a nuisance and and whatever. The ride envelope, yep. The ride envelope is that safety space yeah. Thanks. I'd forgotten about that term. Thank you so much, Leonard. Yeah, very important, and it's always adjusting to make sure that we have all that safety space taken into account. So that envelope always changes while we're designing the rides, so that everything is safe. Okay, so yeah, really cool. Really cool. Things you did not get onto the ZBrush live stream to learn about, but you're glad you did. Let me see. This bit of the bow needs to kind of rotate up a little bit. I'm just going to take this and kind of boop, something like that. So it was kind of going through the skirt, and I didn't want it to go through the skirt. I'm considering going through and taking the hair and making it so that it kind of comes out a little bit further, just to avoid having it hit the bow. That should be fine. In fact, we'll go ahead and we'll take it kind of toward the center too. Just kind of arc it just a little bit, just so that there's no intersecting bits right there with the hair. It just makes it a little bit easier for working on different parts. All right. Let me see. It is now 10 o'clock. Let me check with the schedule just to see. Oh, you know what? Did I have it on the other screen? I didn't have it on the other screen. Let's check with the schedule here. I can cut out of this. This is fine. Pixelogic, community, ZBrush Live. The thing I want to check on and make sure of, well, first off, the titles are wrong on the streams, so I recognize that. I tried to fix it before streaming, but it didn't work, and now I've got my infinity screen going on, so yeah. Let me see. Calendar, that's what I'm going for. I think, yeah, tomorrow's the next stream, so I'm okay to keep going if I needed to, if I wanted to. I'll leave that up for now. All right. Anyone make this type of character? Yeah, I do. Not sure if that's your question, but yeah, I love making this type of character. Deformation. This is one of the interesting things, is that when I have layers turned on and we're recording layers, if I use my masking, it's going to turn the whole thing black. Well, you know, make it so that, you know, it's harder to see. You can see that it's like nice and light, but once I hit the mask here, it's going to be nice and dark. So it's kind of an interesting, weird little thing here. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's come back up to our layers, turn it off. Okay, so now we've got this going on, and that looks pretty good. Still not entirely sure about it, but you know, we'll keep it. Let's turn off the crease, I think, or maybe what we'll do is, yeah, the crease level. Let's just keep it down like that. We'll just add another crease or another subdivision to it, and hope for the best. I'll fix that at some point. It's kind of bugging me how it looks. Yeah, it just kind of bothers me how these pieces are overlapping. I need to go through and kind of clean that up. Very cheerful person. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Rogue Bear. Did you take my Did you take any of my classes? I don't recognize your username. 'Cause yeah, I mean, I've been teaching 3D modeling classes at a university. Yeah, well, at university level for the last 6 or 7 years now. 7 years now. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. I want to think about how this piece connects with the shoulders. Same name. Or is it the Steve Anderson from Disney that he's been a director, and oh, I guess he doesn't do 3D. He does more story and design. Yeah. I don't know. My name is like so vanilla. It's so Art Institute San Antonio. Okay. Oh, that's a little bit messed up. So let's pull that up where it's supposed to be. Cool. Okay. Gosh, I'm trying to figure out how else I want to. You know what? Here's something I want to try to play around with. Let's go into Transpose Master. What? No, no, that's not a morning food.
Dad, I don't want to watch Sonic 2.
Yep, not today.
How about tomorrow?
How about go play, okay? Nope, we're not doing Sonic 2 for a long time.
But it already came out.
I'm gonna try kind of growing that lower leg just a little bit. I'm going to try pulling on that leg a little bit too, just to give her a little bit more length. Let's try masking out the whole body. Try lengthening the boots some. Trying to decide if I like that or not. I feel like it's creating too much of a silhouette break, and I like how Sailor Moon's boots have like that nice streamlined look. I feel like if I were to go for that though, I think maybe we'll just keep it down kind of where it was. We're gonna tug on the ends of her skirt just a little bit. give her a little bit extra volume here. Especially since we lengthen the legs, it's just a little bit more modest, a little bit more taking care of her, you know? Okay, let's say T-pose sub T, so we'll watch her legs kind of expand out here in a minute. Oh, something I didn't think about is that I moved the bottom of her legs instead of moving the top of her body. Her arms feel too small now. So I'm trying to decide, so I'm going to try to lengthen out the neck maybe just a little bit. And then we'll take these arms and we'll lengthen them out. I like to lengthen things out like the arms, just like a little bit at a time. Because if I do it all kind of from the one same spot, then I'll tend to get too much stretching in the parts. Let's go ahead and kind of check this and see. It looks like it definitely needs some more length. Okay, I want to take her chest and kind of raise it up just a little bit. Grab that. Okay, just kind of pull it up some. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of liking that. Okay, let's take it and throw it back over into the file and kind of see how it feels with the longer arms, the longer neck, with the raised chest. Yeah. Helps her to feel a little bit older. See. You used to work with that Steven Anderson? That's funny. He was an SPFX, and I was an SPFX designer. Okay. Huh. Over there at Imagineering? I had no idea that Steven was at Imagineering. Can you show the hair in more detail? I can show you the hair in more detail. These ponytails currently are more block-in. But yeah, this is kind of what I have for the hair. I'll probably go in at some point and kind of vary up the symmetry, because right now it's very symmetrical. And symmetry with hair can be kind of boring. So yeah, I need to go through and kind of vary that up some. I do have some spots up here where it's kind of varied up a little bit, but it's all, you know, hair's great because you want to think about the principles of where it's coming from the roots, where it's going to. So, you know, like if if you have a part in the hair, you got to think about where that hair is rooted and then where it's flowing to. What's affecting it? Things like wind and air movement. You have things like um, wind and air movement. You have, you know, if it's wet. You have if it's, you know, if it's covered in something. If you're underwater, you have a whole different type of flow and movement. It's really kind of odd. So yeah, a lot of things. You got to think about your conditions when you're thinking about hair. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I did, however, want that and this and that, and yeah, there we go. There's something better. Yes, I see. It's getting a little hairy in here. But yeah, and then you also want to think about making it so that it's not exactly the same on both sides. I am trying to decide whether or not I want to dive into trying to do that right now or not. I don't think I really do at the moment. I'm trying to go ahead and kind of just push the character, mostly through the clothing, pushing it ahead some. Okay, I gotta go ahead and save this. And since we did some pretty major changes right here, I'm going to go ahead and level this up. I'm going to go ahead and say version 4. That way if I wanted to, I could go back to level 3 when I had... Thanks, Elle. Trying to get comfortable. That way I could take it back and go into... oh, shoot. I totally lost what I was trying to say. That happens sometimes. Did I make this in high res and now Retopology? I believe so. Honestly, so this is a continuation of a model from the archives. One that I did starting a couple years ago when they had the redraw Sailor Moon. Art challenge circulating on Twitter and art and Instagram and all that. Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it's one that I've wanted to get back to and be able to finish. I just never had the time to really sit down and give her the attention that she would need. Oops, that was a little bit too much. There we go. That needs to be smoothed out some. I have some odd kind of bunching of my points happening down here. Just got to make sure that it's all controlled, or else it's not clean. You know. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you just go through when you're working on a project and you just have days where you have to do some cleanup, and that's okay. Let me see. Kind of smooth that out some, smooth that out some. Most of the time when I'm smoothing something out, this back area needs some love. When I'm smoothing something out, I like to use the alternate smooth. So it's like you hold shift to be able to start to smooth, and then you let go of shift so that it does more of a relax and kind of tries to keep the volume. did I make this? So it started off with a sculpt, one that didn't have. In fact, I'm pretty sure I used the same base that I used to be able to create this witch. This witch, I started off creating her from Dynamesh, so very super rough, and then I created her topology. There was a lot of modification I had to do to make the base mesh for Sailor Moon work, because bigger eyes and some different facial proportions and shapes. Everything changed up really pretty heavily. But yeah, and then I went ahead and created the nice final topology to be able to make sure that my character could be rigged and animated if I wanted to, and eventually that's kind of the hope and the plan. It could be really fun to have a 3D Sailor Moon that that I can actually do something with instead of it being just a simple model, Just trying to check my anatomy and trying to get this so that it's better aligned. Pull that out some. Cool. I'm still trying to decide whether or not. Let me see. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to, because I keep wanting to add in this kind of puffiness to the skirt. I'm going to experiment real quick. I know I keep coming back to this skirt, but it's because it's something that I feel like it's important to make the character feel quite right. There we go, there we go, there we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Okay. In fact, let's go ahead and let's Control W, Control All. And then we can invert. And let's try, here's the other thing I want to do. Because, I don't want to have the whole thing go puffy. So we're going to just do these rings down here. And I'm trying to kind of come down and control more of this as I go down. So you can see kind of the effect that's happening now. It's getting much more of a flare to it. This is working. This is working. Here, Control H. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. Cool. So now we're getting much more of that kind of. There we go. It's eventually it's like going around in circles enough. Your brain starts to detangle different ideas and different thoughts, and then eventually you come up with an idea of doing something that actually kind of works. So purely because I want to be able to keep the other one, I'm going to say Control Shift D, and then I'm going to come. Let's undo that one. Control 1. I'm going to undo up to right there. So that way I have the other versions. Okay, Control 1. And there we go. So much cooler. Okay, I like this. I like this so much better. Let's go ahead and kind of pull this out some. I don't want it to be super flat, but I do want it to be, let's kind of slope it some. Oh my goodness, you guys, that's exciting. Okay. I was like, how am I going to get that? Just one little row at a time. Okay, I'm gonna have to play with that intersection here in just a minute. I'm gonna finish kind of playing with the bell shape. In fact, let's kind of check it from the side, check it from behind. Something like that. So now it's not intersecting. It looks like it's kind of working for me, you know. Oh, so much cooler. At the moment, I'm not selecting a poly loop, but what I had been doing is I had been going through with my select lasso, and you can turn on the poly loop just to be able to, or the poly frame just to be able to see this. What I'm doing is I'm holding Control Shift and then clicking on an edge, and that's kind of hiding things. So to be able to invert that, I'll go ahead and Control Shift click that, and then I can Control A to mask all of it, and then Control Shift tap to be able to bring it all back, or Control Shift A to be able to show everything. Yeah, and then I can invert that, and I can just move this, all sorts of different things. I love masking. I love selection tools and masking. They're some of the most useful things inside of ZBrush. It's so great. It's so great. Okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so here's where we're at. This little section right here, I'm going to try to, that's better. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna need to use some move brush here. It's all just a matter of kind of playing around, trying to find different planes. These shoulders need to be worked out some. They're kind of messy. And a lot of what needs to happen in order to make these work is like, it's just like the way that these muscles join with the chest. So I'm going to kind of play around with that a little bit here. It's like right now it's too round. It feels like it's too rotated forward too. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's grab, smooth that out some. Center something like that a little bit better. Okay. And then something I'll try to do typically too is I'll pull these points down toward the arm, like into the arm a little bit further, and that helps to encourage more of that deltoid sort of shape. Kind of pull these over a little bit. Starting to look a little bit better. Yeah, eventually, once I have this all done, I hope to be able to sell her as like a base mesh or as a rig, so that way, you know, people who want to play around with animation and things like that. Like I've got a buddy who works at Disney Feature, who had asked if I had any rigged characters that his students could animate with, and you know, I feel like this could be a fun one if you know, for people who are learning animation, if I can get the rig to work well. It's been, I did some light rigging in college. It's been since college, so over a good decade. Hey Janet. Yeah, Leonard, correct. Yeah, so clicking on the line rather than on the surface. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it'll go through and it'll hide a whole edge loop. It's so helpful. One of my mentors taught me about that trick, and I've been using it ever since. Oh man, let's see. Yeah, it's messy. And I mean, this is all going to be underneath the clothing. I kind of want to, let's modify the breasts. I feel like I want to have actual kind of breasts modeled in, since this is a female character. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to turn off. Let's just turn that off so we can see. I am going to say, let's take this. Oh yeah, multiple subdivision levels, that's right. Let me see. Because being able to model in those breasts will be very helpful. Helpful to holding the shape, you know. I'll just kind of play around with these points so that they hold the form that we're looking for a little bit better. Sometimes it's a matter of grabbing those edge loops right there. So you see, I got two edge loops right next to each other. So Control Shift, and then Control. Oh, let's grab this one too, right there. Control A, Control Shift A. So now we've got that edge loop unmasked. Okay, so now we can go in and actually control the sharpness of that transition. Control exactly kind of where that happens. And then we can soften that mask and we can kind of pull it in a little bit further so that it's adjusting the points around it as well. And so now we get a much nicer shoulder transition here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, magic. We can do the same thing over here. So 1, 2. We'll get that. Let's actually do this right here. Control A. Just kind of pull that in. Soften it once. And we'll just kind of pull it in like that. Okay, so you can see that that's creating a little bit of that natural sort of muscle overlap. Okay. Okay, good. All right. It's kind of funny to me actually that I have that section of her so red. I wonder why. Well, and granted, I have this texture map from a much higher resolution version of her, so it's I'm not really going to be able to change that texture map section unless I were to go in and actually change it in a different file. Like say make a new, like export the texture map into Photoshop, paint over it, and then bring it back in. But it's not a huge deal. I mean, that's all underneath the clothing, so it's not a huge deal. But at least I hope it's not. But if it becomes a huge deal, we'll take care of it. Yeah, so I want to start thinking about how this clothing is going to attach to this, and I think what I'm going to do is split it out so that it has multiple pieces. So let's do a little bit of a draw over right here. I'm going to say that for this piece, in fact, let's pick a color that's going to be hopefully a little bit more visible. Cool. Okay, so it's going to come up to right over here. Okay, I'm going to have a piece that kind of just acts as, you know, for like one side for each breast. So that way it's, you know, that way she's covered. It's going to be, you know, fitting the contour of her body, sort of thing. There's going to be a piece that's going to come down over the top of the shoulder. And granted, this is going to be on both sides, right? We're going to have the clamshell looking piece up here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 right here. This is going to come down and kind of split right there. So we're going to have, you know, a back piece, and that's, you know, very loosely traced. And we're going to have like our front piece. And I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure if I want to have it be the full front and the full back, or if and you know, granted, I can go through and kind of create like a trim here too, so that it feels nicer. There could be like a trim coming across here or something. Maybe not. Maybe we'll keep that clean. Maybe we'll just have a trim kind of going around here. And maybe, I mean, it could be cool if this were to be kind of open backed. Open back. That's like super mixed up, uppercase, lowercase, sort of jumbled stuff there. Question mark. So let's say something like that. Let's try it out. Let's try it. See what it's like. So easiest way for us to be able to do this, we already have this kind of split up into a couple different polygroups, but we don't want those polygroups. Okay, you can see the way that it's split up. So I'm going to split off so we have an upper piece and a lower piece first. All right, let's go ahead and say Control T. I set my transparency to have Control T as the shortcut. Makes it just a little bit easier for me, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. I am going to, you know what? Let's do this up here, something like that. And let's say polygroups, auto groups. Grab these, Control W, just so that that's its own thing here. So I'm going to say Control Shift D, and then we'll call this lower. And we'll just delete the upper part there. Modify topology, delete hidden. Delete hidden. Okay, we'll go to the upper piece. And we don't want to just get rid of the blue turquoise piece down here because this needs to extend down far enough to be able to reach into the skirt. So I'm just going to have it something like that. We'll say delete hidden, delete lower, delete hidden. Okay. So we've got something like that so far. This piece right here, I'm going to want to kind of restructure this. It's going to have to kind of angle off up here. So here's what we're going to do. Let's grab these this section right here. Like I said, I think I'm going to have this be two separate pieces kind of coming in for each side of the chest here. Let's do something like this, and then Control W maybe a couple times so that it's easy to see where that division is. Oh, sorry, I'm not getting comfortable in my seat. Who's saying hi? Mastodo. Hello. Yeah, so we've got this that'll go in there. We'll have a piece that'll kind of go over the top. In fact, let's do this. Control W. This can be the same poly group. It's not a big deal. Oh, not the same color though. Let's do something like that. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to think. Because now, sorry, the more I think about it, the more I want to have this stay solid, because it doesn't make sense to have like this thick band going across here and then just like this small little margin of like just skin kind of showing underneath her bandana thing. Ascot, I don't know, whatever we'd want to call that. So I think we're going to keep this as a closed piece here. Let's try, got something I want to try. Layers, let's come in here, let's say bake all. And then we'll come up and we will undo. And then we will hide hide this little sucker and we will work on this one. Okay, so let's kind of move this so that it's in place. Let's down res it. Move this so that it's in place. I want to see what this would be like if it were to connect down. And it feels a little bit too triangular. I don't know that I like that. That's a bit too much. I like more of the cap sleeve sort of look. So let's push this a little bit further and see what we can do with it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's take this. We're going to see, that's going to go down and around, that's going to go down and around. I want those to stay. But it might just be a matter of taking them and doing a group split. Let's turn off our symmetry. We'll come over here, make that its own polygroup. For the front to the back, let's go ahead and make that our little division section here. Oh, I better turn on symmetry again because that's going to be important right there. Okay, and then up top, let's say we'll have it, let's have this piece be like kind of a yoke sort of piece. So we'll have this piece be over to like here. Okay, let's try this. There we go, something like that. Okay, I'm just going to hide different parts. I need to make sure that I've got that little island there accepted into the green. Okay, is that all we have? I think so. Yep. Perfect. Okay. So now all these are going to become different pieces. I'm still trying to decide whether or not I want to add in different paneling as well, like to different parts. I don't know. It's kind of tricky to figure out sometimes. Okay, let's do this. I think we're going to call that. We're going to say Control-Shift-D so that we have a copy. Blouse 1, that sounds perfect. All right, we're going to say unweld groups border. Okay, so now each of these, if we use our move topological, you'll see they're separate pieces now. You can even have the separation right here, this separate seam for the middle, exactly how we wanted it. Okay, so now all these different pieces are great. This is going to be helpful. Okay, so we're going to take these pieces and start to mold them to what we want to see. And I'm going to focus primarily on these bits right here first, just so that I can get them lined up the way that I want to. I want them to come and end up connecting right here. So let's take this and say, let's just use the move brush, it's fine. I think. I'm going to take, you know, some of that. Let's invert it, smooth it. Let's grab the transpose line and start to just kind of push and tweak and pull this thing around. Okay. It might be worthwhile for me to go ahead and kind of delete a couple of these extra edge loops in here, just for now, just so that I can have an easier time controlling, like maybe this too. And sure, why not? So we can control that shape a little bit better. Get that and that. Get that and that. And yeah, sure, we'll get that too. Okay. So now we should have, yeah, a much more simplified piece to work with. I'm going to move this over just a smidge. So we're going to say collapse polyloop. Boom, like that. So yeah, it just moves everything over just a little teeny bit. Okay. Yeah, so Overwatch stylized clothing folds. You can do a few different things. I'm not going to go through and do like a full demo or anything like that, but some of my favorite tricks. Oh, not that. Please don't do that. Let's go in and let's say I'm going to pick the standard brush. Let's add a few subdivisions. Let's crease that open edge first. Okay. So to be able to get, in fact, this is probably not the best piece to do this on anyway. Let's go to let's do something like this, just for the sake of being able to show kind of a fold. Crease, cool. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do is this this thing called AccuCurve. So with every brush, you have this option to be able to turn on AccuCurve, come up to brush, go down to curve, and you hit AccuCurve. So you can go in and you can start to make these sharper shapes. Okay, so you get those sorts of things going in there. One of the things that you can do, you can adjust that curve too to be able to get more of a sharp sort of transition. But I'm going to turn on lazy mouse, make that a little bit more to my liking. So if I were to come over here and adjust this, I can get a little bit sharper of a transition. You can see kind of the look that's getting me. It's not strong enough of a smooth. Yeah, and then you just kind of go in with like trim dynamic or other type of trim or polish brushes, and you can just kind of polish out those sections. I feel like I'm kind of floundering with some of these settings at the moment. I know one of the things that I used to do a lot was like I would take the Damien standard and I would kind of do things like this. Okay, so that'll get you like a really strong fold. But there are also other brushes that are super helpful. Let's Somebody that has really good fold brushes is Shane Olson. He has really good stylized fold brushes. Let me show you. Let me pull him up. 3D character workshop.com. Pretty sure this is the right website. Yeah. Okay. I made that. Well, I didn't make it. I engineered it. I did all the cutting. I made it so that it was so it could be pulled apart and put back together again. So it could be 3D printed and things like that. Shane did all the sculpting. I did the engineering. Yeah, this is Shane, a good friend of mine. Let me see if I can find, because he does. Yep, grab Shane's free brushes. He has these brushes that he uses all the time, and they're super cool with creating stylized folds. I don't have them immediately ready, or else I'd show them to you. But if you watch him on ZBrush Live, you'll also be able to see how he uses his brushes. Let me see, Shane's story blog. Yeah, chisel brushes. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. It's kind of interesting. I'm trying to find. Oh, there's Instagram. Oh, I didn't see that one. I gotta go check that one out sometime. Let me see. Some of these look like they're some student work. Yeah, this is one of his. You can kind of see the folds that he has going in there. But yeah, a lot of it's just kind of a matter of mixing and matching different brushes to figure out some of the feel. But yeah, that's kind of my suggestion, is going through and kind of playing with that Acu curve. One of the things that happens, though, if you noticed, when we did turn that on, we get kind of like this stippled effect, like little bumps kind of coming in here. See those bumps coming in. Let me see if I can remember exactly what it is I need to do to turn that so that it's smoother. Modifiers. You can do something like that where it's like you're using the trails, and that's kind of fun, you know. It's essentially going through and using the brush multiple times on one stroke. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can kind of stroke that out, and you get these nice cool folds like really quickly. Okay. So yeah, you get things like that kind of going in. I honestly don't know exactly what all it is that they did for the Overwatch characters, or are doing for the Overwatch characters. It's not a property I've worked with, but I love it. It's a super cool style. That one's kind of funny how that was. Let's undo the clay polish. We'll keep a couple levels of it. That's fine. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's come back to this. Control T. Oh yeah, her shirt. That's what we're working on. Get back to that blouse. Okay. So I gotta turn off the bows. Gotta turn off that pendant. I've gotta turn off her ascot thing, her bandana, and that should be good for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep playing with getting this right. Sailor Moon, protector of all the good things. All you're taking is course McBobbles. How are you liking it? Really good. What you're working on you working on something, anything in particular at the moment, or? From trash to trash with a plan. That's so sad. Trash with a plan. I like that though. It's funny. Going to grab these. Geometry. Delete lower, delete higher. Modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, I want to be able to make this so that it feels like it's connecting with the rest of the shirt. So that's going to include taking the edges, kind of going along the top of the shoulder, and making it feel like it's flat and like it's rolling over the shoulder, so that I can create a seam. Yeah, you'll get better. You'll get better. It's all about. Oh, you know what? Let's get rid of a couple of these. I don't want to get rid of those ones. I do want to get rid of that one, but I want to make sure that this is one that I can use for the seam. Take that down, take that down. All that hard work, and we're just going to down-res it. But it's okay. Sometimes you go forward and you have to take yourself backward. It's all right. You know what? Let's just do it like this. Woo. Okay, so pulling this out so that it's more level with the shoulder. My kids are being awfully quiet. They're probably watching something. Hopefully it's something that my wife and I would approve of. Yeah, so I'm going to have this narrow little overhang in this seam with this piece so that it feels like it's kind of sewn in on top of the actual blouse. That should hopefully be helpful. It's a lot of H's in a row over there. Should hopefully be helpful when I'm in making it feel like this is a nice, light, thin type of material. Alright, let's go ahead and control 1 just so we can see just this piece. Where's everybody watching from? I don't mean like, tablet or phone or computer or whatever, I mean, what part of the world? Just because I can see some of you responding in a smart aleck sort of answer like that. I know I would. Yeah, let's go ahead and take this and just kind of, I'm going to push this in over here. Virginia. That's pretty cool. My aunt used to live in Virginia. I went to visit her when I was 10. Stayed over there for a week. It was fun. Something kind of like this so far is good enough so far. Berlin, yeah. Germany, Denmark, cool. Haven't seen any flute players or Minutemen then. I guess it depends on what part of Virginia you go to. You might see like the reenactments of the Civil War sort of things. I guess Minutemen were more of like Revolutionary War sort of things, but still works. Kind of funny. I wonder if they were called Minutemen back when it actually happened. Like back when they were actually fighting the Revolutionary War and Civil War and things like that. You know, did they actually call them Minutemen at that time? Because if they did, was it something as like, you know, like praise for being ready in a minute, or was it something of like, you better be ready in a minute, you know? Sort of thing. Is it praise or is it pressure? I don't know. Okay, so we've got that coming in. We're going to have to add in like a little edge kind of coming along here so that it can, actually maybe we'll have the that edge kind of come over here and we'll have this part be on top. I like that better. I think that'll be easier to work with. Let's do that. Some, pull that in some, boom, something like that, something like that. We just got to clean this up a little bit so that it's, because if it has too much height variation, it's going to create some issues when I try to, here, in fact, we'll go ahead and we'll make this overlap a little bit. It'll have some issues when I start to try to, when I try to make it look like it's sewn in, you know. In fact, I do kind of, yeah, let's make it so that this goes on top. I think that makes more sense. Just because it feels like this other stuff is a hardier material, like much stronger material. So we'll have this be on top for right now. I think that sounds like a much better idea. And so the shoulder piece is meant to feel very thin and very delicate, very see-through, very, not a strong material. And so having it be on top means that it's just kind of on it's not part of the structure of the fabric, structure of the garment. And so they're able to use it more as like as decoration. It's meant as decoration. Well, so far it's already looking better. Let's see. Oh, I didn't realize this was part of the. Okay, just need to split that out. So we'll call this. We'll call that Bustier, just because that's kind of the area that it deals with. Let me see. I believe it was, as they were part of the militia now. If only they were Minutemen for everything else. Yeah, like food at a fast food restaurant. Like, get me that food in a minute. As long as it's made properly, I guess. Doesn't make you sick. You talk about being a concept modeler. You need to produce high quality concept sketches using ZBrush. Yeah, it ranges quite a bit. Right now for my job, actually, the thing that I use the most is Maya. Um, let's go ahead and let's put this down here, and we'll say group split. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize that those were the same group. Here, let's just say polygroup auto groups. But yeah, the big idea with my job is that we try to get out concepts. Oh shoot, that's not what I want. Try to get out concepts as quickly as possible. And so oftentimes, I mean, we're not using like clean geometry like I'm doing right here. We're not. It gets to be kind of messy. It's still fun. It's one of those things that, especially since I'm not in ZBrush all day, so it's not as fun as I'd like. But if you have a good job, try to keep it and do a good job with it. Because everything you do in the industry, it's all about networking, right? But my job has a lot to do with making sure that dimensions and what else am I trying to get at? Dimensions, shape, story, everything's kind of taken into account. So it gets kind of crazy sometimes. There aren't very many people working on the stuff that I'm working on, so it's like it's me, and then I've got one other friend. what like two other friends kind of doing this with me. So it's like we have to worry about building out entire cities, and we have to build the sets for where the show will be taking place. We have to and what we do isn't necessarily the final piece for the show. What we'll do will often be taken and kind of reworked. We're just the ones kind of responsible for figuring out how different concepts will work spatially. So figuring out how things fit into a room, for how the storyboards are going to flow in a 3D space. And it gets to be kind of crazy, but it's cool. It's a cool process to be involved in. I really enjoy being able to work on something in that sort of way, you know, where it's not something that's necessarily final, but it is something that's useful to figuring out the look and the feel and the different things like that for the film, for the show. Needs to come down a little bit more, needs to come up a little bit more. Okay, something like that. Oh, here, let me check my order right here. I'm gonna call this shoulder strap. So I'm going to try to keep things in an order that makes sense. So shoulder strap, bustier, and then we've got, we'll call this blouse front, and this one should be blouse back. Okay, blouse front is going to overlap with blouse back, and it's going to be on top. The bustier is going to be on top. So as we're looking at these different things, that's kind of some of the things that I'm trying to consider is what's going to make the most amount of sense. Let's keep the resolution that we have there. Let's grab this. Kind of pull this out some. Autosave to the rescue. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Oh, my hand kind of hurts right now. Let me see. Cool. So let's go ahead, let's start taking this and lining it up a bit better. This is like peaking right here in a weird way. So I'm going to take this point and kind of try to pull it down to a point that feels a bit more comfortable. Something kind of like that, maybe. Take this corner right here, pull it over and in. And in fact, because of the way that that this sort of junction right here works when it's smoothed out, you see it's like it has that weird kind of corner in it. Let's go ahead and I am going to say, let's turn off the bustier, turn on solo. What we're going to do is we're going to pull out an extra edge loop. Okay, using Zmodeler, we're going to say extrude. Yeah, we'll say extrude edge loop. Snap to surface, that's great. Oops. Just tap on Alt to kind of bring out extra stuff. It looks like that holds out really nicely now, which is amazing. Okay, I'm going to undo any creasing that I have because that's going to kind of mess things up a little bit for me. Okay, and then the idea is to take and kind of ease that out some. Okay, so now that I have that 5-pointed star offset a little bit, that should help so that whenever I smooth it, it'll, you can see it's not connected. This is the thing that I was telling about earlier. So and it looks like it is connected over on the other side. I'm going to worry about trying to fix this on this side just to be able to show that particular problem that I was telling you about. So it looks like it's joined. Okay, I mean, if you get close enough, you can tell that it's not joined up, but it's kind of hard to tell when you're just regular out here. So what I'm going to do is with Zmodeler, I'm going to take this point and I'm just going to kind of jiggle it a little bit. So now when you hit the smooth, it's joined up. And what it's doing is that Zmodeler has this vertex welding power to it. And so as I jiggle that, it's going to go ahead and it's going to join those points if they're close enough together. Mirror and weld just to make sure that that's symmetrical. Great. Okay, so now I can turn off my smooth preview here. And I'm just going to rearrange these points so that they are where I want them. This a little bit. Something kind of like this for now. Okay, now let's turn on that Bustier. Kind of get this lined up. What we'll probably have to do, let's say crease. We can just say crease PG because that'll crease all the open edges, and it'll also crease individual piece borders. So your polygroup borders. So this is still disconnected, but because everything's got the open edge, we've got this working for us. I am the captain of this ship. Kind of try to smooth this out just a little bit, and if you lower that Z intensity down really low, you can really get kind of a nice soft gentle sort of smoothing, and you're able to sneak up on your forms much more easily. Trying to figure out a good spot to line this up for for that seam, so that it feels like it's, you know, kind of nice in the center-ish of her body on the side. I'm going to leave that kind of disconnected so that it's not perfectly aligned. But I do want to kind of fix some of this alignment over here on this side, because I feel like it's getting a little bit too far toward the back. Something like that, so we can see the seam and know kind of where that's going. That'll help us to keep the design in mind, and decide if we want to be able to fix anything or change anything. I feel like the rib cage might be a little bit low. You know what? Let's take it over into Transpose Master to be able to play around with that. Let's say yeah, we'll do this. We'll say Control S just to make sure that we have the latest and greatest. Okay, now we can go ahead and use our T-pose. Make sure that symmetry is on. Okay. So one of the things that I need to go ahead and fix, let's go ahead and make sure that that's masked. In fact, we can just go ahead and hide that for now, so it's not in the way. Like, oh, she's so cute with just the buns. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's do this. And gotta fix the anatomy and the form of her body back here and up here. It's like I'm always trying to go back and forth and fix things as I find them. And you know, you should never feel like it's too late to fix something. One of my favorite artists to follow on Instagram, and I wouldn't be able to tell you his name very well because it's not in a language that I recognize. I think he's up in Canada, but it's I think his name might be Arabic or some Slavic nation or Ukrainian or something. But he is brilliant, and one of the things that I absolutely do love to see. In fact, let me see. I can look him up. I will show you his brilliant stuff. Youssef Samani. Yeah, I'm actually not entirely sure at all where he's from, but he's awesome. But I love watching his little sketch time lapses. He's a brilliant designer. He's got a really great style. But one of the cool things about his little sketch time lapses, and I don't know which one to kind of select if it'll be able to show you, but you'll see him go through and he'll get a good amount of the way through his sketch, and sometimes he'll go through and erase like big pieces of these sketches, pieces that looked like they were, you know, kind of close to done. He'll erase them and he'll go back and redraw it instead of, yeah, see, like that. That's totally went through and redrew again, erased, redrew, and changing the pose. You know, he's not afraid of going back and redoing these things, to really think through his design, and it's so cool. I love that. So yeah, never be afraid of going through and restarting something. Yeah, it's just fun. It's just great. Love his stuff. Love his stuff. Yeah, so right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting different anatomy marks right. And currently, yeah, I need to kind of pull back on the hips and things just a little bit. It's like there's just a little bit too much something going on here, so I'm trying to figure that out, kind of work it out some. Trying to figure out my curves and my lines. Okay. And it's working pretty well. Oh, here, let's go ahead, let's hit this. Okay, it's looking much better, just shape-wise for that torso. It had felt too wide, so it was important to me to get this to feel a lot less wide. And by going through and kind of tweaking this, tweaking her blouse, I think that's helping to make it feel like it's not too chunky. That's actually kind of a fun look. kind of an odd, like, dark gray color. It almost makes it feel like kind of a, I don't know, kind of an odd ghost sort of character. I wonder what it's like if we did it the inverse. I didn't like that. One's kind of cool though. Yeah. Okay. So we've got that. Everything's unhidden. Everything's unmasked. Okay, so we are going to go ahead. Let's do the Z plugin, T-pose to sub T. Oh yeah, that's going to be so much better. Look at that. Such greater shape right there. I don't know. Maybe we'll go through and kind of. No, I think it's good. I think it's good. That's fine. Let's try this though. Let's try this. Okay, so it is this one. Okay, so let's come over here. Let's do this. I want to say. I'm gonna play with that just a little bit. The thing that I'm looking at that I think I want to play around with a little bit is the height of this skirt. I kind of want to take it and lower it some. Something kind of like that. That's interesting. trying to decide if I like that or if I want to go down maybe even a little lower. It's definitely a very different feeling having it down like that. Let's do something kind of like this. I don't know. I think that, I don't know, maybe it's something that we'll have to test out and see. But it kind of feels like, you know, in lowering it like that, I feel like it needs to be shorter. Let's try that. Let's try that. Let's say T post to sub T. Because I kind of like how it lengthens out her torso, having it down a little bit further like that. So let's try this and then duplicate that out. Make that a little bit smaller like that. And then modify topology, delete hidden. Let's go ahead and let's crease, not PG, let's say crease for the 180 degrees so that we get it around the outside there. For thickness, let's add a little bit of thickness just so that it's got some. The skirt shape itself isn't really fitting what we need, so let's kind of play with that. It's like it's too low in the front and not low enough in the back. Ah, nerds. There we go. Too low in the front, not low enough in the back. Something more like this, maybe? Alright, let's do something kind of like this and kind of pull and tweak on those shapes some. Give it just a little bit more of a bell shape. It looks a little bit empty. Let's check it with the bow and with the bandera. Yeah, let's hit a new version of this one. See what it's like. Keep versioning up. I do need my hair tails to be a lot longer. So here's what we'll do. We'll take this and we will say Mask lasso like that. We'll grab our transpose line and just kind of pull it out. Okay, turn off RGB. I'm going to use this snake hook. Let's turn off dynamic. So hopefully we can get some decent results with this. That's a little bit much. Yeah, it might be one of those things that I have to play with later. Because right now I really quite like the length, but it definitely doesn't feel quite as grand as Sailor Moon's long hair back here. So yeah, it might be something we'll have to just play around with a bit more later again. Just kind of refresh that so that it's, yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. If we decide to change it back later, we can. But yeah, I'm liking that. I see. I'm on the underwear part. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say let's hide that. I don't want to hide it. I just don't want to select it. It has come back to bite me. Okay, because that's going to have to come and be lowered down to be able to cover that area. Okay.
He kind of reminds me of Bowser. Remember how Bowser always tweeted? Like,
Something like that. When you export a model from ZBrush to Cinema 4D or Maya, the geometry looks messy on edges. How can I fix? So one of the biggest pains to me, and I don't know what version of ZBrush you're using. It used to be down in here underneath export, but there's an important setting that you need to change where. Let me see if I can. Let me see. Export. Import. Export. It's this right over here. It's this this group button. This will mess up your model tremendously. Like, I have never seen this actually be useful. I have no idea why it exists, and so I always have it turned off. And so once you turn it off, you come up and you can say config and store config, and that'll keep that button turned off for you. And then you can go ahead and you can export your OBJs and things like that, and it'll work just fine. But yeah, this is what I'm working on right now. It's a Sailor Moon redesign that I had started, I think, early on in the pandemic. So I just wanted to get on and kind of play with her a bit more and push her some so that I could have a neat little character design to show off. Yeah, so that's kind of the biggest thing. And so when you're exporting something from ZBrush, you want to make sure that that you don't have that GRP button. And you come down and again preferences down to import export. It's this GRP button right here. So as long as you have that turned off, you should be fine. Otherwise, you're going to get really weird things where it's like your model's cut up in random places and it's not usable. Kind of a pain. So yeah, turn off that GRP button and you're right as rain. Yeah, you should have that option in here. That should be there for you in your version. I would update though. If you if you have that, if you own your license of ZBrush, you should have your free upgrades. So yeah, it should be good. I would totally do that. This is a little bit mismatched. So let's just kind of pull this in. Yeah, because I know that like with a couple of the earlier patches, earlier versions of this release of ZBrush, of the 2022, there were some minor issues that they went through and they fixed. So chances are that if you have issues currently and you're on an older version, an older patch of ZBrush, if you go and you upgrade it, then you should have those things fixed, just as kind of like a general note. That's one of the really neat things about Pixelogic, is that since they're such a small group, they are very attentive to their software in ways that larger groups like Autodesk traditionally are not. So yeah, it's really neat. I really do super appreciate the Pixelogic team and the way that they have been so attentive with their community and with their software. So yeah, they were purchased by Maxon. I guess Pixelogic wasn't purchased technically. It was just ZBrush, I think. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the software evolves now that there's that kind of ownership and that kind of partnership there. Yeah, the Pixelogic team wasn't able to tell us a whole lot about it. It's all really pretty nebulous and pretty blurry to the streamers. So we're excited. And later this year, I suspect at the summit, they'll be able to tell a lot more. But yeah, for now, it's very there's a very minimal amount of information. But you know, that happens. Gotta take and give her a bit more of a collarbone. looks better. Cool. Yeah, that looks much better. Much cleaner. There we go. Let's save that. It's kind of fun just to be able to show you what this looks like. Pull it over here so you guys can see. That's what she's looking like right now. Well, I mean, I guess not right now because this is a pose, and I had gone through and set her arms to a T-pose so that I could have a simplified rigging setup. So eventually when I can rig her and everything, I'll go through and I'll have that set up, and I'll show you guys what that looks like at a later date. Is this the final retopo of this model? The character herself, yes. The body is the final retopo that I'll have for her. The clothing is still work in progress. The hair, we'll see.
Guess what?
The hair, I have changes that I want to do to the ponytail at least. But yeah, her things like her skirt, her blouse, all these different things are kind of heavily work in progress. So I'm trying to still design and figure out what it is that I want to do with this. And so far in the stream today, I've been able to figure out some bits of this that have been really important to figure out. Being able to get things like this, like the different paneling in here. I've got the part for the covering the breast here. I've got a strap going up over the top. Well, strap. Let me turn off a couple of pieces here so I can show you. Turn off that bandana. So you can see I've got this piece right here. It's kind of buried for a moment. Let's pull it out so that it's not buried. Okay, so we've got that. We've got this. Okay, and then this piece kind of wraps around over to the top of the shoulders here. So this will be kind of a nice supporting piece for the whole of the blouse. Something that helps to create a sense of just strength there in the shoulders. And then these pieces down here, got the front and the back, to help cover her up. The skirt, it's pretty close, but it's still technically kind of work in progress. We'll see how it evolves as we go along. These bows they're just in place. They're not technically like the topology's done. It's just not posed, for whatever pose she ends up being in. Okay, so those are my bows. The gloves are, they're pretty much done. In fact, I didn't realize that I had let's do it like this. so we'll just kind of lengthen that out a little bit, I think. Since we lengthened out her arms, I just think it's kind of fun to have these gloves be a little bit longer, you know? Okay, kind of pull that forward some, pull this kind of up. Yeah, it feels a little bit better. I like that. Cool. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave her for today. Let's just go ahead and save her one more time because, you know, you get paranoid. You don't want to lose it. Let's go ahead and hide that. And we will pull our character right over here. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to turn that bandana back on. Just so that way we have like more of a full sort of look at her. Yeah, so there we go. That's where we'll leave her for today. Not bad. Not bad. In fact, we can go over to our bows. I need to split these out so that they're separate, but you know, whatever. Dynamic. We'll just turn on dynamic so it's nice and pretty. Just make it look that much closer to finished, you know. Anyway, yeah, lots of fun. Hey, thanks a lot, guys, for coming and joining me today. I always have a ton of fun streaming and playing and just getting to work on something fun and a personal project, you know. Hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully you found things that were useful to you. And yeah, if you're interested in finding me at any of the social medias, you can find me right over there. You see the SMAARTIST. SMAARTIST is my handle pretty much everywhere. So you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Instagram. Instagram's where I am the most active. Yeah, you find me pretty much anywhere under SMAARTIST. Anywhere where I'm at. ArtStation, everywhere. If you look at smartist.com, that'll have all my links, have all my connections and everything. So, yeah. Thanks for coming and joining me, and I will talk to you next time I talk to you. I believe the next time I'm scheduled to stream is in 2 weeks, so not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that. And then I think I'm going to be taken off for a month. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Gosh, have a great day. And I will see you next time I see you. Smartest out.